Hello guys, we are back, and as you can see behind me, we are at XS Leasing once again. And on today's show, on today's video, I have something interesting for you. I have a comparison to my Jetta GLI, a regular Jetta that you see behind me, so you can see what's the difference inside, outside, in terms of the performance. I'm gonna go over everything, so hopefully you enjoyed this video. Stay tuned for the future videos as well. Don't forget to subscribe. Let's go ahead. So in order to enter this car, you have this Volkswagen Key, which is pretty cool. From back in the day, they had this flip-up key, which is pretty cool. And this key has been around for Audis and Volkswagens for many years now, guys. And in terms of the design, it feels like it's gonna be very durable and it's gonna last many years. So what you need to do is just to have this key in your pocket, and you can unlock and lock this vehicle. So you have lock, unlock, and you have lock, unlock here, lock, and trunk release. You have to press the trunk release, and you have panic red button on the side, which is a little bit different than other keys that I've reviewed. So you put this key in your pocket, and you have a lock here and little ridge here. And in order to unlock this vehicle, you just have a sensor on the back of this handle, and you can just unlock it. By tapping twice, you unlock the rear doors as well. So in terms of the design, like I said, on the inside also conservative look. I like this plastic, looks very sporty. Door handles, buttons feel sensitive, feel very quality, but at the same time it feels like this car will be durable. At the same time, it has plasticky materials everywhere, a little bit of a soft rubbery material here, but it feels like a rubbery plastic. You know, build quality is I would say okay for the mid-size sedan like this one. In this price range of under 25,000, this is a very good car. And as you can see here, seats, regular seats. These are not sporty seats, but they have a bolstering. So in order to, you know, basically feel good when you drive this car, you still have the bolstering here. You still have adjustability back and forth. You can adjust the back seat, back position of a seat as well. You have a lumbar support here. So in terms of the design, it's pretty strict, but at the same time interesting design. Okay guys, now let's hop inside and see what this car feels like when you're in a driver's seat. Very good thud on the door. Feels solid. I'm not surprised, because this car is, after all, German engineered car, and it feels like it's gonna, you know, it's gonna last for many years. It feels very reliable at the same time. Even though these cars are built in Mexico, they still have this German engineering to them and the feel. So you're gonna get a very good quality in these cars, and they are very cheap as well. So if you contact a leasing company, XS Leasing, they have very good deals right now on these cars, and they are one of the cheapest vehicles in terms of the price, but they're not the cheap in terms of the design and in terms of the practicality and reliability. So very good in balance there. Dials look same as on my Jetta GLI, but they have a little bit difference in the middle. So the middle screen is not gonna be color on this one. It's gonna be almost black and white ish. It's a little bit bluish white there. And also very good steering wheel in your hand. It feels really nice. You have this still bolstering over here, even though it's not a more high performance Jetta, you still have this bolstering. That this car feels more sporty than luxury, of course, because it's a small sedan that is very practical and easy to drive on a daily basis. In terms of the infotainment system, it's a good infotainment system. You have a SD card slot here. You can opt for this car for the navigation. This car doesn't come with navigation. You have to opt for it. There are less options on this car because it's almost a base vehicle. You don't even get automatic climate controls in this car, but there is an option and you can opt for them. Okay, let's not wait any longer and let's start the car. Push button start is right here. And as you can hear, car roars to life. And like I said, in the middle you have a black and white screen. You know, it's okay. It's not really something that you expect in this price range, but you know, you still have the information there, so that's good. In terms of the infotainment here as well, it looks in terms of resolution same as on my Jetta, but the difference is that you don't get navigation here. You don't have premium audio system like Fender in this car. Like I said, in this price range, you know, you expect this car to be more of a base model than something that has performance and practicality in terms of the usability on a daily basis, which you have more pleasure with GLI, of course, with the performance and audio system and everything else with the suspension as well. And you have a white headliner here. It's less sporty, so it's kind of understandable. On the Jetta you have a black headliner that matches the interior of the black dashboard as well. Here you have plasticky materials here. This is much cheaper materials than on my GLI. This is not rubbery feel anymore. This is much more hard plastic, and you also feel like there is more plasticky materials that look cheaper than on my Jetta. This in my Jetta looks more piano black, which is shiny like this material here, and it kind of matches everything else in the car. And steering wheel, of course, the steering wheel doesn't feel as thick as on my car, which kind of implies the idea that, you know, this car is not as sporty, but at the same time, you know, you know what it is, and you know that the regular Jettas give you that little bit sportiness, but it's not as performance wise as the GLI models. You don't have automatic headlights in this car like I do. You just have regular lights here. You have this, instead of a red line with a black piano black, you have this plasticky silver trim here that runs also on the other side as well. You have plenty of space in the glove box, same as on my vehicle, on my GLI, and this car feels like, you know, it gives this vibe of practicality and durability. These seats, once again, they're leather red, they're not leather seats, so once again, expected in this type of car. Also, you have handbrake, manual handbrake. Some people gonna love this because they have the usability of using the handbrake, and you know, it goes way back into the older versions of any car, so this is pretty good to have here. You have a regular 6-speed transmission. You don't have DSG like you see on top. There is no DSG logo, so this car doesn't have a DSG transmission, but it has a regular 6-pin transmission that you can shift as well yourself. So it has a sport mode here that it's gonna feel a little bit more, you know, throttle sensitive when you drive this car. But in terms of the steering, everything will stay the same, and the transmission, this doesn't have so much of a difference in terms of the transmission as much as in my GLI. This transmission is a regular 6-speed automatic instead of having the DSG, which is pretty cool and top of the you know, transmissions on the market right now. So yeah, and to come back to the steering wheel, you have the buttons here for the cruise control, up, down for the volume. You don't have adaptive cruise control in this car, just like on my car. My car doesn't have adaptive cruise control either. But the GTIs in my in model year of the GTIs in 2017, they had the cruise control, which was adaptive. You could opt for it. On my car, you couldn't even opt for it, just like the headlights. So you also have the controls here for the middle screen as well over there. By pressing up and down here, and menu left and right. You have less graphics there, which is also understandable because this car is more base compared to GLI, but you still have the options here of a Bluetooth and accessibility of voice control, so that's pretty good. So in terms of that, you know, the car really delivers of like basic functionalities of everyday driver, and you know, it's pretty cool. Which is also very cool that you have heated seats, guys. So if you live in colder climates, this car is also very usable as well. And you have for the passenger as well heated seats, so that's pretty cool as well. So yeah, in terms of the interior, I would give from 1 to 10 for this car. I would probably give a 6, 6.5, just because there is a lot of plastic materials, but it's you know, it's still an okay vehicle, and you know, it doesn't feel like it's gonna, you know, give a spot to any Corolla or any other Civic on the market. So this car is really something that has its own spot, and that's what I really appreciate about Volkswagens. It's still a German engineering, even though they're built somewhere else. So as you can see, guys, I'm sitting right now in the driver's seat, and the most comfortable position I found is sitting like this. You can lower the seat a little bit more down, but in order to have more sporty feel in this car. But you know, in terms of the way this car you know, how this car feels when you're in a driver's seat, it's almost same as my GLI, but it's less sporty, of course. There is less bolstering on these seats, which I kind of start to appreciate my GLI a little bit more, just because of the I think a sportiness that the car has, more performance oriented seats, performance oriented steering wheel, and it really shows here. It has also automatic up and down. It has also automatic up and down for the front windows and back windows as well, so that's pretty good. So they haven't skipped on this feature. I thought only I had this on my Jetta GLI, but more base of models also include the same feature. And in terms of the performance of this engine, it feels really responsive, but at the same time it feels like, you know, this engine is kind of underrated. By having 150 horsepower and only 148 pound-feet of torque, this car really feels like, you know, it could have a little bit more torque and a little bit more power, and that's why there are other models also you can get the same engine, 1.8 liter instead of 1.4, which will give you 170 horsepower but the same torque number. But in terms of the weight, this car only weighs 3,000 plus pounds, so it's not even 3,100 pounds, so it's lighter than my car. And in terms of the drivability, this car will be very dirty car, so it's going to be very good in driving conditions, and it's going to be very flexible to turn. You know, this car is accessible for any age group, young or older generation, so everybody's going to feel at home with this car. And very good German sounding horn here. Pretty good car. In terms of visibility as well, I would give for the visibility this car, I would probably give this car an 8, maybe 7.5, but probably an 8, because I don't see any blind spots just like in my car. I feel like this car really is very usable, you know, in terms of for the driver, and doesn't intimidate you how big it is or how small it is. You know, you will get used to the dimensions really quickly. So good job, Volkswagen. So as you can see, this car is different. It has less plasticky feel, but at the same time it's a kind of a budget sports car, so you're gonna get plasticky feeling materials throughout the car. But the steering wheel, as you can see, the dashboard looks different than on the regular Jetta, and this one is much more special. Steering wheel much more thicker, and it feels better in your hands as well when you drive. So you have automatic climate controls here, you have Fender audio system, and you have more bolstering on the seats as well. As you can see here, they hug you more when you drive, so it's more feedback from the car. You have a floor mats that have GLI on them. You have a GLI on the logos of the side seals as well, on the door seals, I'm sorry. And in terms of the back seat as well, this car has the same quality in the back seat as well. So lots of differences overall. So in terms of the engines, as you can see, my car has a more powerful engine, 2.0 turbo engine that produces 210 horsepower and 207 pound-feet of torque, and weighs almost 3,200 pounds. Regular Jetta has only 1.4 liter turbo, 150 horsepower, 148 pound-feet of torque, but weighs less than 3,100 pounds, so a little bit lighter there. I hope you guys enjoyed this comparison video of the two Jettas, my Jetta GLI 2017 and 2017 Jetta SE with 1.4 liter engine. And like I said in the past, there's a lot of videos coming up in future, and this car was provided to you from XS Auto Leasing. I'm gonna put all the information in the description box, so please go check them out. And see you next time, guys. Don't forget to subscribe. This was Leo, Cars at 100.